Hi, welcome to Free Money in the Market. Full disclosure before we start this episode, all views are our own, and we do not recommend that you take stock recommendations from us or anything that we say. Yeah, let's get into it.
Yeah.
What's going on, guys? Welcome to Finger Guns. That was big. Welcome to this episode of Free Money in the Market. First episode, actually. I'm Connor, and I have a degree in finance, and I just watch a lot of news and trip out about stocks all day. To my right is...
I'm Alex. I work in finance. I'm not going to really go into details about where I work, but I was also a finance major. We took all our classes together in college and probably been talking stocks since sophomore year of college, so for freshman year?
Well, probably freshman.
We had classes freshman year.
Yeah,
too. It's
let's,
freshman year, 18 years old, so there you
Let's
go.
do the headphone thing just to get the double recording on the...
I'm gonna sit closer then.
Just in case. Make sure your headset's unmuted. Alright. So, we're trying to throw this together. We think it's a pretty good time to do so because, well, there's a lot of shit going on in the market right now that people are panicking about. Going on in the world, really, that people are panicking about with the whole coronavirus and all of that. So we figured it's kind of a good time to put our thoughts out there from the finance side of the world and let everyone know that it's going to be okay. So I think we're just going to jump right into it, and I think we should probably start with why this whole panic, hysteria, complete meltdown of the markets began.
Yeah.
So I think, I'll start with the whole oil factor. Currently right now, the Saudi Arabians are just overproducing oil to oversupply the market. They're in a war with Russia over the oil prices. Is that correct?
Yep, absolutely.
Yeah. Yes, they are.
And it's kind of just boning our market because we have too much oil. As you can tell, gas prices are extremely low right now. Add anything else to that?
Well, I think Saudi Arabia needs the oil to be at least $30 in order to make any sort of profit. And I know a lot of U.S. shale companies are profitable around that area as well. So oil below 30 is really bad news for kind of everybody involved. So I don't think that these prices are going to stay. It's just kind of a matter of, is Trump going to get on the phone and talk to both those countries and ask them to straighten it out? Or is that something that they're going to settle amongst themselves and the U.S. is going to take a back seat? But I wouldn't be surprised if Trump did get involved because it is a national security issue for our country to be energy independent.
Bad issue.
I do think that, if this goes on long enough, Trump will get involved. Do you have any thoughts on that?
Well, I think it really came down to a price war between Russia and Saudi Arabia. I don't want this shit on you.
Yeah, just kind of point your mic at it. Just double audio recording.
Both of them kind of loose cannons. Saudi Arabia is, I better not get this wrong, they are part of OPEC, Russia's not.
Yeah.
Saudi Arabia, obviously Saudi Aramco, a huge oil producer. It's mostly state-owned over there. Just became public a couple months ago. They have by far the largest capacity in the world in terms of being able to pump out oil, which also, goes hand in hand with being able to be profitable at probably the lowest price.
Mm-hmm.
They don't really care how far they drive it down if it causes competitors to go out of business.
I think they're producing like 40 million barrels a day. I think I saw.
Let's look it up.
We can just look it up. We in the U.S. I believe produce 13 million a day. So that kind of like.
I don't know the numbers.
53 million.
Let's do a quick Google.
Yeah.
I thought we were the leading exporter of oil in the world. No.
I don't know. Well, the whole fracking took us to like one of the we're at the top because
one of the leading energy
fracking
producers.
revolution.
For sure,
but
one of.
I think Russia and Saudis are still ahead, but they don't really care for a free and healthy energy market.
Yeah.
I mean, we all know that Russia doesn't really play by the rules.
Do you guys think that this was intentional, done at this time, to kind of rip the rug out from underneath this country?
No.
I don't think. I think that it was accidentally done intentional. As in, they had,
Excuse me?
they had absolutely no idea that this whole coronavirus thing was going to blow up as it did, and it's just ironic that it did. That it happened at the same time. Yeah.
I mean, we don't really want to. I don't know. We're not getting political on this, are we?
No.
No, not really. Not too much.
What's politics?
We're not going to tell people who to vote
So-
for, but how politics affects stocks. I mean, that's real.
Disclaimer: we are not experts, but we're experts. All right, continue.
Well, let's say we're somewhere in between Wall Street and
Very much
Wall Street bets.
very much Wall Street.
A subcategory. of
we
Wall
fall
Street.
right in the middle.
If it affects the market, it affects us. You know.
Well, yeah, but the difference is between us and the average American is they usually just contribute to their 401ks and then never look at them again, which is actually good.
Yeah.
Honestly, that's how most people should do it.
You
Because
can do that, yeah.
the more you look at your account, the more you'll trade in your account. If you don't know what you're doing, you're gonna hurt your returns over time.
Yeah.
But the difference is most people don't really care until something like this comes around. No one checks the market every day like we do. No one looks at different stocks.
Every second.
No one keeps a watch list like we do
Wow.
every day. No one texts in a group chat constantly every day
Every
about
day.
stocks. Other than when I'm too busy at work and I can't join
And
in.
even then, we still get
So
some.
the past couple weeks I've been pretty quiet in there. But,
Yeah, it's been a wild couple weeks.
I mean,
So if you don't know, I believe the pretty close to exact numbers are since February 20th, which is kind of the start of all of this, the whole coronavirus thing. The Dow Jones Industrial Average has been down 31%. We came back a little bit yesterday, but I think lost it all today again.
Yeah.
The S&P 500, I should say the Dow Jones Industrial Average is the largest 30 companies in America. Moving on to the S&P 500, which is the top 500 companies in the world.
S&P's 500 largest. Dow's not the 30 largest.
S&P's in
Yeah,
America.
not 30
America.
largest, but
500 largest in America.
Yeah, domestic.
Domestic.
The Dow. A lot of if you think about it, Amazon's not the Dow.
yeah.
There's
That's
certain large companies that cannot be in the Dow because the Dow is price weighted.
Very true.
If their stock price is too high, they can't be included because it'll mess up the weighting of the index. It'll be too top heavy.
Yeah, it'd be way too weighted. For example, Amazon, which is trading at like $1,800 a share.
So when you look at the S&P 500 doesn't care about stock price, but it does. It's based on the market cap of each company. So about 20% of the S&P 500 is Apple, Microsoft, and Amazon.
Yeah.
So like it's good to invest in, and it's good to use as a diversifier, spread your money thin. But nowadays, when you have 4 or 5 companies that are much larger than the rest of the domestic companies out there, I mean that's been a struggle lately. It's hard to buy the S&P and call it diversifying when 20% of your money is in 4 companies.
Yeah.
Crunches
You're
like
getting
this.
500, but
Yeah,
Exactly.
like back in the day, before I got interested in all this, the biggest companies in the S&P were ExxonMobil and GE. Look where they are now. So I mean, it does change. Like on an ongoing basis, the largest companies in the world change. So if you look at it that way, buy the S&P today, it might be 20% of those 4 companies are now, but in 30 years it could be completely different. We could see things like
I bet that's not going to last. Cause
No,
isn't that
it
like abnormal to have such a
20%
Yeah,
over
you have
3
a-
companies.
yeah? Because I think I've seen like history that like certain companies that like have rose and fall, like those big ones that have gone bankrupt, or not bankrupt, but
Yeah, like
the
GE,
.com
GE,
era had
yeah.
companies that were heavily weighted in the S&P and now they don't even exist or now they're much smaller. So
well, at one point before the .com crash, I'm pretty sure AOL was the biggest public company.
I believe it.
right, and it's like that.
Who the fuck has AOL?
Exactly.
Actually, I still use my
AIM.
AIM email for like 90% of the spam.
Was
shit.
AIM owned by AOL?
AOL Instant Messenger.
Was that really what it was?
Yeah.
I
Did
never
you not? Did you not
I
know
used
that
AIM.
was-
I had an AOL email. I Apple ID is still my AOL email from when I was like 12.
My Apple ID is my AIM email.
I can't get in that email anymore.
It's at AIM.com.
I forgot the password to that shit.
No, so seriously, like when Apple like emails me about some important shit, I can't even see it because my Apple ID email doesn't exist anymore. So that's nice, but
yeah, no, that sucks.
So I feel like we kind of went over oil. So then we should talk about the virus and then.
Well, I do want to finish my point of saying the Nasdaq, which is essentially the technology sector,
pretty much
it has been down 27.7% since February 20. So
I think this all is it before yesterday too? I think this is as of Wednesday's close.
This is as of yesterday's close.
Yesterday's?
Maybe Wednesday's.
Maybe as of Wednesday's close.
No, March 19th.
All that really matters is everything's down pretty much 30%.
Down a lot.
30%.
And I think we'll throw in there now. We can just talk about the volatility index real quick.
Yeah.
First, break down what that is.
Yeah. So the VIX, it basically measures volatility. Correct me when I'm wrong, because I'm gonna be wrong. Basically measures volatility within the markets, specifically the Dow, or is it all markets? S&P.
Yeah. But the fact is, it's just used as a fear barometer. It's like the higher the VIX is when you know the market can't make up its mind.
So generally, I think historically it trades in the area of like $10 to $30. We see, like, you've seen a lot of big spikes during like the Black Tuesday in '87.
Was that Black Monday?
Black Monday in '87.
It's right there. Scroll down.
It is right there. I have it up on my screen.
So we weren't alive back then, so we apologize, but
all those damn millennials, older millennials, I should say. I don't know. It's somewhere in here. Regardless,
Monday, Black Monday, 1987. Yeah, when it was down.
Black Monday. I got the year right and part of the word right. Anyways, so it usually spikes up in like the .com bubble, 2008 financial crisis.
Yeah.
It'll spike. I think the highest before
this week,
this month really was this week really was maybe 40.
Really?
No,
there's no way. I feel like it had to be higher during 08.
Yeah.
I feel like it had to be higher.
I'll pull it up.
I'm
pretty sure it hit 74.
It's
No, but
74?
we beat the record though.
I know we beat it. I know we beat it, but I think it's been way over 40 and
Alright, so if it's 74, we still beat the record, and it is now up to, or it was up to 85.
I think I saw 85.
Yeah, 85 and change.
According to this, I don't know how. This isn't an E-Trade ad, or I'm not trying to trash E-Trade. According to this, in 1987, it hit a high for a split second of 171.
Oh wow!
I don't know how accurate that is.
Black Monday was
literally it was for a split second.
Yeah.
So
flash crash.
and then in 08, 89.
89. Oh wow. Okay.
And this
past
past couple weeks, we topped out at 85.47.
We've had much higher percentage point meltdowns before.
So
it's the points that people get all scared about.
Yeah, it's the point day. So like the Dow going down. The Dow on Black Monday went down 22%.
Yeah.
The Dow on the Black Tuesday, the stock market crash of 29, went down 12 and change percent. We saw one minus 13% day. I think it was followed by a slightly green day afterwards, but
that was Monday.
that was this past Monday, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, I wasn't at work. I was just sitting on my couch freaking out.
Yeah, everyone was crying.
Yeah.
But what was my point with this? Yeah, it's the point drop. So because the Dow it was closing in on 30,000, at least 30,000 points. If I could talk, it'd be cool. Obviously, 10% of that or 12% of that is going to be more points than if it was 10,000.
Yeah. So in 1987, all we felt was 500 points that day.
Yeah. And that was a 22% crash.
Now
1/5 of the market was gone.
I think I read now, if we fell 22%, it would be more like 5,000. So,
yeah.
So because I mean that just shows how much the market's grown over that.
Oh, it's insane. Well, I mean, it's everything. All of the first of all, inflation. So you have 20 years of 2% inflation. So it's
higher than that back then.
Yeah,
In
but
the
I'm
80s,
just
we had inflation spikes. But
average 2% maybe. over the 20 years, so that's 40% gains.
In our lives, we've had very low inflation in our lifetimes. It's crazy. But
yeah. So moving on from that, I mean, I think back to the VIX point. I think during this whole pandemic, the VIX has gone up like 380%.
Sounds about right. Yeah. Because we were chilling around 14.
Yeah.
Before this.
I was telling them before this whole thing, I was saying, I'd look at the VIX and I'd say, anytime it goes down to 11, buy a VIX call, because the whole 2019 basically, the VIX stayed in a pretty tight range, and anytime it went down to like 11, that's kind of like the all-time low for the year. And I was like, that's free money, you know, like just buy a call, and it is free money until it's the one time that it's not.
Would you say it's free money in the market?
It used to be.
It's a subtle plug.
Yeah, it's a plug right there.
Plugging your own podcast on your own podcast.
As Connor has reminded me 3 times before we started, that is the name of this podcast.
That is indeed the name of this podcast.
And if I forget it, he's going to be very mad.
I will be. Alright, so...
yes. So basically, in China, in December, this virus was already picking up.
November was the early.
Big time.
November.
They didn't even tell us. It was early December, but
they tell us.
It was passed from an animal to a human. So we're supposed to believe. We have no idea.
Yeah, if that's the truth.
Again, we're not going to get political. We have no idea what to believe. According to China, they literally have 0 new cases happening right now.
Wuhan had reported 0 new cases yesterday.
Yeah, just what I'm saying.
Like
they're basically saying that they're done. People might still die, but they're saying that no new people are getting infected.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, Italy is pretty much just, I think, they by far surpassed China in deaths already.
Yeah, and
there's a lot that plays into that. Really.
To that point, they're projecting that the U.S. is on that same track.
Yeah, we're just.
The number of cases, not the death rate, though.
Correct.
We're just 2 weeks behind.
Yeah, we're 10 days behind or so. So that's why I think in 5 days from now, because that whole 10-day number behind came out probably 5 days ago. So I think in 5 days from now we'll see a little bit larger scale of
we're gonna see a lot, thousands more
infections,
cases, thousands more. I mean, right now you have California, New York, pretty much totally shutting down.
Yeah.
And so I actually personally, if we're gonna be a little conspiracy theorist here, I think we're getting these numbers late because there's no way that they can update us in real time because the government needs to be able to.
Doesn't even talk about politics, but hits them right with the conspiracy.
The government needs to be able to make a plan in order to serve the population. So I believe that we're getting these numbers maybe 48 hours late, maybe a week late.
I would say probably maximum up to like 48 hours.
So they know where this is going, and you can kind of tell by how their tone changed, the direction that we're heading in. So I think you're going to wake up to a headline where 10,000 new cases or 50,000 new cases wouldn't be out of the ordinary. We have 350 million people here, so it's kind of only a matter of time.
Yep.
And I think that's why people are starting to freak out because they don't understand if they're going to be able to work, or people are going to be able to go out in public, and that's kind of with the oil, and now you got the virus, and then the third thing that kind of went into that was the interest rates going down to 0. I think kind of freaked people out a little bit because that's when they realized, oh my God, the Fed is taking preemptive action here.
Yeah,
this is serious.
Yeah.
And that
So we should probably go into the federal interest rate real quick. Generally, it stays at about 2.5%.
Again, though, like
that's all historically relative.
Yeah, it's all just average.
That's
and
what
it's relative of what we've seen.
What we've
seen. 2.5%.
We're young.
What's normal interest rate? That's
it's all just relative to the time.
0 interest rates are not normal interest rates.
Exactly. The Federal Reserve has
either negative.
Yeah, they have the free willing to raise rates or to lower them. Recently, and in times of economic downturn, they will lower them.
Yeah.
So that it frees up money.
You can borrow easier.
Yeah, you can borrow.
Borrowing money's free, and you can start a business, pay it back at no cost.
Yep.
It's the quickest way to get money
when,
back to the economy.
When the economy is doing very well, which we've seen in the past 2-3 years, we've had one of the best economies ever. At least that we've seen. So the Fed will naturally raise rates at that point.
Yeah.
So that then
they have more room to
cut. More room to come down
again. Of course.
And that was interesting though, because our economy was so strong, but the interest rates were not really that high, and that was kind of because the rest of the world had such low interest rates. It kind of brought us back down. Because we can't have a crazy high interest rate and the whole world's at a different interest rate. You have to be somewhat comparable.
All of Europe's at like negative. They pay you to borrow.
Yeah,
those German booms.
The German booms are negative. Yeah, it doesn't make sense.
Do you guys think we're going that way? Going
negative? I doubt it. I don't think so.
Negative in terms of the overnight lending rate, which is what the Fed actually says.
Yes.
Or negative in terms of the Treasury rates, which is
the
like 5, 10, 30-year.
Overnight lending. I don't think...
We're already at 0. If they can go any lower...
It's negative, but...
If they have to go lower, that's insane. But honestly, them lowering the rates helps, but at the same time, it acknowledges that there's an issue, and that drives fear into the average investors.
Yeah.
Even institutional investors are panicking. They're not normally the ones to do that, but right now, I mean, can you blame them? People that went to cash 2 weeks ago look like geniuses right now.
Oh yeah.
So the fact that us three are in a little bit of a different position because the money we're investing, we're probably not going to touch for 30, 40 years.
Yeah. So we don't care.
I don't care.
But a lot of the selling you see is people 50, 60 years old that want to, which is, I mean, the boomers have the money. The millennials don't have it yet.
Okay, boomer.
So a lot of the selling is in the accounts of the people that plan on retiring soon.
Yeah.
So if you
50 and up. Yeah.
Yeah, if your account has done so well since the Trump election and since beginning of 17, and all of a sudden shit hits the fan, for lack of a better term, and you're panicking, it may make sense to sell, but if you have 30, 40 years like we do, it makes sense to just keep on buying, if not.
It looks like that's probably not going to happen. It's coming under a lot of criticism from other U.S. players. There's just going to be a lot more negative headlines coming out next week, especially as we finally get some of these.
Negative headlines.
We can edit that
next
out.
week.
That's fine. Alright, I'm gonna move this here.
I need that screen. Yeah.
We need a little bit of we need our little bullet point sheet here.
Alright, right there.
Yeah. Alright, well I can see that. I was a little too far away up
You
there.
can zoom in a bit too.
No, we're not. I got glasses now. See these things? They kind of work.
There we go.
You got glasses too.
I know.
I gotta move this.
Getting old.
there.
Okay, I feel like we kind of like established like the framework of like what's going on with the interest rates, with the the virus, and with oil.
Yeah.
Like, we've got a solid foundation on that.
Yeah, the virus is not an issue in terms of.
Do you want to talk about the virus now? Like what we think like long-term projections are going to be? Like predictions?
I don't think anybody really knows.
No one knows, but let's make predictions. See how right we are.
The most like accurate or acceptable thing I've seen is like this is going to affect us for the next 1 to 2 years. A lot of that affect us is going to come from market momentum, and if we don't get that momentum back, then we're going to be in worse shape. Because we're definitely we're at least a year out for a quote unquote vaccination or cure or something, maybe less. But if you want to be like optimistic, then yeah, way less. I don't know.
I think it's 1 to 2 years for a full recovery, but I think certain industries are going to recover much faster, especially the ones that aren't directly impacted by the virus. Anything like tech related, where you can work from home or do anything like that, I think it's going to do quite well. But if you're talking in terms of like the cruise lines, that could take 2 years.
That's going to take longer.
If they recover, airlines, 2 to 3 years, like I don't know. It
They'll
depends
all
what the bailout package looks like.
No, that's what I was gonna say. They'll all go under if they don't get bailed out.
Yeah.
So.
But I think he's made a pledge. He's made a pledge to bail.
These bailouts aren't free though. They expect to get paid back.
Correct. I think what the smart thing to do, in my opinion, and I think that President Trump will go this route because he has that business route of Chapter 11 refinancing companies and everything. He's gonna treat it kind of like his own business, and he's gonna treat the government kind of like his own business in my eyes, and potentially just buy minority stakes, majority stakes in some of these companies, so that when they are able to get back on their feet, the government owns 20% of Boeing, say. So right now, Boeing is down 75%.
Boeing's not going anywhere. That's national security risk. They make all of our top secret defense contract stuff.
Yeah, so Boeing's down 75%. So we own 20%.
Although I don't want to buy that. Would you ever buy Boeing?
I would not
touch Boeing.
It's got a
Yeah,
nice little
Boeing-
dividend though.
Boeing's yielding like close to 10% right
Well,
now.
Yeah.
that's not legit though.
No, the same
No,
thing.
it's legit. They just can't.
They won't be able to
They
pay
can't
that.
sustain
Hey,
it.
yeah.
So it's a fake. It's like a fake dividend. It says 10% on your screen, but that's
Yeah,
just
no,
never
no,
gonna
no,
be paid
no,
out.
no, no. It probably will never. Then by the time they are getting ready to go ex-dividend, which is the day before you actually pay your dividend, they'll cut it way before then. There's no
yeah.
way that they're going to.
I'm pretty sure Delta actually earlier today, hour ago,
Cut
so
their dividend.
they cut their dividend
Yeah,
and
suspended.
slash their they withdrew their guidance.
Yeah, they said they're operating with 80% less revenue or something like that.
Well, that's saying
70%
a lot.
less revenue.
I've heard in the industry, Delta has by far the best balance sheet
Yep.
among the airlines. So if they're cutting dividends, a lot of the airlines actually, I think Delta might be the only one that actually pays a dividend. Southwest doesn't, American Airlines doesn't.
Really?
JetBlue might a little one. Boeing's not, I don't consider them.
It's not an airline, but yeah.
But I mean,
Southwest for sure doesn't.
no, they don't.
They're trash.
I don't know. People like Southwest.
They're so cheap.
Yeah.
They're so cheap.
LUV, baby.
It's like
It's a
$69
stock
to go to Florida from Rhode Island.
Yeah, but it's not like what's that one that's like literally dirt cheap that people always joke about?
Southwest.
No, way cheaper. What's that other one?
I don't know. I
It's
don't.
not
I don't
public.
travel.
It's not public. What's that
I'm
one?
sure
that...
it's not.
No, I gotta look it up.
Sorry,
Sorry.
you can look it up.
Yeah.
Alright, so in terms of stimulus package that they put forward, I think the most effective thing, even though I don't know how much it would cost, would be for the government to just assume the payroll for all these companies that have been shut down by
Spirit.
the government.
Spirit.
Sorry.
Spirit.
Spirit.
That's
There you go.
that's public.
Is it?
Safe.
Yeah,
Ticker.
it
The
is.
ticker
I
is
think it
safe.
is.
So they're absolute like
They
a lot
got
of people
fucked.
that fly Spirit don't think they're gonna land. So
That's a good joke.
literally,
I don't think they're gonna.
literally like that thing is like so sketch. But obviously they don't pay a dividend. They're like, yeah, Spirit recently. Spirit was trading at 45.
It's like
1
10.
month ago, and it's at $8.69. So I mean that's like just a case, as well as Boeing, which was 400. What
Pushing 500.
Boeing was already on its way down before this whole
Pushing
thing came
400,
out
that's what it was.
because of the whole issues with the manufacturing and those fatal crashes. But I mean, an airline getting cut from 45 to 8 in a month.
Airline going from 400 to 100.
When you look at the cruise
Sub
ships,
one.
same thing with the cruise ships.
Boeing's
too.
not an airline.
Yeah, I know, but
Same
it's
thing
in the
with the
same
cruise ships.
sector.
You've seen the cruise ships to have a similar,
And the
have a similar,
hotels,
have a similar
yeah,
sell
and the
out to the
hotels.
hotels.
Anything vacation is in the gutter right now, pretty much. Whether it be travel or flying,
Large groups.
hotels,
You need larger groups of people
Yeah.
in one place. It's not gonna do well.
casinos. We're sticking to the social distancing thing of no more than 10 people.
Where's our masks?
I got over there.
Yeah, I got
Yeah,
mine.
we could-
Actually, we might be a little too close here, but we're
Might be a little
we're
close.
fine.
No one's coughed
We'll
yet.
figure it out.
If they do, I'll kill them. Yeah, so the stimulus, I want to go back to what I was saying, the stimulus. I think the government should have just taken on the payroll for these small businesses, if that's possible, and just bridge it through. because-
Yeah, and I think I was telling you earlier, I saw today that a potential piece of this stimulus package, we were hoping it was going to come out today. They obviously haven't.
Yeah, we don't know what it is yet.
Yeah, they obviously haven't signed in anything. As far bipartisanship is cool.
Which slows everything down.
It just slows everything down, honestly. Yeah, so a potential piece of it was going to be that the government was going to loan small businesses money.
Yeah.
And
At
it
0%.
was, yes, at 0%, and it was contingent on if you use that money
Mhm.
to pay your payroll and you don't lay anyone off, then you don't have to repay that loan.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
I get that, but I don't think a business is going to be able to, like, how long do they have to pay back that loan? Because if you have like a restaurant and we're still dealing with coronavirus in
Well, they don't.
And
If they
they
don't
have an
lay,
infinite time,
if they
infinite time frame.
no, I'm saying if they the thing was if they don't lay anyone off, they don't have to pay back the loan. The,
It's just
the
free
government's essentially just giving them money
Oh.
to keep their payroll afloat.
Oh, okay, then then there's no reason for anything.
Yeah.
That's only for small
Exactly.
businesses.
For
so.
small businesses.
That's
The
over
big
half the
ones-
countries.
Yeah, airlines, the hotels, all that
They
stuff.
don't need a bailout package.
They have to pay it back eventually.
Well, if they put that through, that's basically what I was saying. Because you can't give them a loan and then they don't know when their business is going to come back, like in terms of like demand. Like
Yeah.
when are people going to go back to eating out again and feeling comfortable? Especially not in places like New York. That's going to take a really long time. anybody that's seen this really bad outbreak people are gonna be hesitant to go right back out in the public.
Yeah, it's
So
gonna take a while.
So loans are not that good, but if they're gonna say that if you keep
Yeah,
payroll and you don't have
like
to pay
I
it
said,
back,
I just saw that as a headline.
Right.
It was one of the
That
things
would- that would
being
be-
proposed.
yeah.
It's
That-
being
that-
proposed.
that would be
So.
the route that I would take because I think it's gonna take a lot of money. But if we don't get a handle on it, it's going to continue to progress to the point where people are just going to be going to work sick, and if you and you just hope that you don't get sick enough where you have to go to the ICU because we can't keep this country shut down for months.
No.
I mean that would cost trillions. I mean I wonder what it costs each month to have the country shut down. Like how many trillions are we losing each month?
Well, if you think
wish I
about
knew
it,
that number.
use China as a case, as a base case. They're almost back to like normal.
Yeah. I mean,
And it's only been 3 months.
Well, I think
So-
that virus is going to come back though.
No, yeah, people like
Where's it going?
The fact is, health experts have
They just-
said it might mutate and come back, and even if we make a vaccine, it might not work for the mutated version of the virus that comes back. But at the same time,
which
a
is
lot
already
of
mutated
others are
times.
saying that we might get a huge break in the summer when hot weather rolls in, because historically viruses are bad in the winter and they're fine in the summer.
And then we're fucked
So-
again, flu season.
If they can find I don't want to say a cure, but a vaccine for this by the time winter of 2020 comes around, that's the best case scenario.
Yeah.
Like it dies down in the summer, and then by the time whatever it comes
We see
back
another
again, a
case.
mutated version of it comes back
Yeah.
again. We actually have it figured out.
So you think we have a slow April and May, and then we pick back up in June?
I would
Our
say,
country,
I think the younger generation will start going back out in the summer.
even while there's a significant risk of still contracting the virus.
yeah.
Once they hear that it's like easing,
Dude,
I
people
don't
are going
think-
insane.
What do you
right
think
now.
in
I don't
China?
think millennials will
People are going
stop
insane.
out.
I saw
Gen Z.
there's Instagram stories right now where one person will take a screenshot of a black screen and draw like a carrot and then tag like 5 people. And then they'll take a screenshot of the previous person's carrot and then draw their own carrot.
Like add something to
And
it.
it just goes on like a chain that just never fucking ends because millennials don't know how to do anything else but sit on their phones all day.
I'm jealous of those people because I'm still working my friggin'
Yeah,
ass
exactly.
off. But hey,
But if China brings everybody back, I just think the virus number is going to go right back to where they are. It's not warm enough yet. That's my whole
Yeah.
point. My whole point is that it's not warm enough yet, and so if this thing is super contagious, then they're just going to get sick again as soon as everybody goes back to work.
So what do we think about
So
companies like chain food, so like McDonald's, Wendy's?
Yeah.
What do you think about like Starbucks, for example? I was mentioning them the other day. Companies like that, like, are they ever going to see the numbers that they were at prior to this?
I saw.
I think they will absolutely.
Oh,
But it's
eventually,
gonna-
yeah.
Sorry,
not
in the
soon.
short term.
No.
In the short term.
No,
absolutely
I saw
not.
something interesting. Well, I was listening to CNBC on the way here. They had a big franchise owner on there. He owns 500 Burger Kings and 300 Popeyes.
Jesus, bro.
$2 billion in revenue
I
a
was
year.
gonna say he's got some. He's not poor.
He started with one franchise and built it up to 800.
Wow.
So
It's like
the
what's
funny thing
dude from
is,
Breaking Bad, El Pollos Los Hermanos or something. Never saw Breaking Bad.
Kid?
No, I gave up after the third season.
I gave up too. I got bored.
Resident Sleeper.
It's very boring.
Seriously, it did get boring.
Yeah.
But
That's another.
so his
podcast.
Burger King sales are down. They closed all the dine-in. They had to pretty much across the country.
Yeah.
Everywhere closed dine-in. They still take out and delivery through things.
That's like 50% of the
through
revenue.
things like Grubhub and stuff like that. But so Burger King sales down 60%.
Yep.
Popeyes up 20%, which is funny
What?
because compared
The
to last
South,
year.
the South doesn't give a fuck.
Compared to last year, mostly because of that damn chicken sandwich.
The chicken. That's it. Yep.
You guys saw the craze of that when it first came out. It still is around.
The
Popeyes
chicken sandwich is
that big of
a hit?
The Popeyes
Wow.
was last month, year-over-year sales compared to February of 2019 was up 40%, and now compared to March 2019, it's only up 20%. So they consider that bad because like, oh, we fell 20% in one
Yeah.
month. They're still beating what they did last year.
By
In its 300 Popeyes franchises.
Right, with the
Just because of that damn
That's
chicken
crazy.
sandwich. Because
That
people
damn
just
chicken
get it on Grubhub, get it on Uber Eats. They want that chicken sandwich. So, but the average, like you can think of McDonald's, Burger King, KFC, they're probably all down 50 to 70% year over year. So,
Yeah, I mean, so what's it? KFC, Taco Bell, and shit. There's a couple others that are all like.
it's like Pizza Hut. It's all.
Yeah.
It's like
What's the name of the
it's
company?
like Yum Brands or something.
Yeah, Yum. Yeah.
I think they're all under that umbrella.
Yeah.
Might be Burger.
You're right.
Might be Burger King too.
I don't believe
not a stock.
No.
Not in the next 12 months.
No,
So
maybe Yum China. Yum Brands is its own China subsidiary that you can buy. They'll recover before
Before us,
the
for
domestic
sure.
Yum Brands does. But
Yeah.
that's something I would stay away from. I wouldn't touch any of the. I wouldn't even touch Starbucks. I know you said you liked it. But
I like the fact that they're actively doing stuff in China to get around this. I believe, I want to say as of like Tuesday or Wednesday this past week, 90% of their stores were back open for like
in China.
in-store dining.
they can be open. I want to know what the revenue.
Yeah, and who knows exactly? Who knows what their revenues are? But
Yeah.
still, I would not go near that with a 10-foot pole.
No.
No, and then they did stock buybacks. When,
Oh, let's talk about those.
yeah, I guess we could raise that
Yeah,
question.
yeah.
So do you think that companies should be doing stock buybacks if they take any like bailout money
Or if they're
anything
laying
like that?
off employees.
If they take out both of those points, if they take bailout money, or if they're laying off employees, they can get fucked if they're trying to do stock buybacks.
There's no rule in place yet that says they can't though.
Exactly. There's no rule in place, but ethically, it's like, what the hell are you doing?
They need to put a rule in place.
They do.
And I was talking to Connor.
It's wasted money.
Yeah.
Yeah. You take the government's money and buy back your own stock.
Yeah.
And it's just ridiculous.
And you shouldn't be prioritizing share price over the well-being of your own employees.
And we're not Bernie Sanders or anything, but I think cutting executive bonuses is obvious. Like that's a sensible move.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
no CEO that makes 1.2 million needs that $800,000 stock bonus as well. Like you can cut all that out. If you're taking money from the government, all of that has to end. Like let's put it that way.
100%.
Like all of it.
100%.
I think that for the industries that end up taking any sort of bailout money, they need to be able to keep a certain amount of reserves to run their business for X amount of months without any revenue, so that we don't repeat this next time there's a national emergency. So the example would be something like Boeing. If they're going to take any bailout money, instead of doing share buybacks, before they do any share buybacks, they need to have 12 months of revenue on hand or 12 months of savings on hand in order to run their business for 12 months before they make any buybacks. They need to have a much bigger cushion.
Yeah.
Carryover, some good old carryover.
They need to have way
carrying
more
over.
carryover.
I mean, the biggest thing is paying the employees, because if you don't pay your employees, people have no money to spend. If people have no money to spend, they can't put it back in the economy, and we're just going to be stuck here forever in a downward spiral. Never mind a recession, which is just 2 consecutive quarters of GDP, negative GDP growth. I mean, that could turn into 20, 30 quarters straight of negative GDP
Which
growth. If we're not getting people back to work.
I think we're heading towards recession territory on that point.
Probably already in one, right?
I think we are.
We can't know until
third
quarter.
Yeah,
Or
mid-year.
whatever,
we
third
can't know.
quarter 2020.
But it's
Can't know.
very obvious that Q1 is going to be in the gutter. Who knows how much?
Q2
might be
Q2,
fine.
Q2, yeah, Q2.
It's Q2 and Q3 that are in real jeopardy right
So Q1 might be flat, I heard.
Actually, wait.
now. When does it start? We should take that months. I don't know the normal.
That's what I'm thinking. It's government, right?
The
So
government,
it starts.
it's just
It starts
January
9:30.
1st today.
No, it's 10-1 for government.
Well, then
That's when the government fiscal year starts.
to the end of December?
10-1
That's Q1?
to
12/31.
9:30. September 30th.
10-1, that's the whole year. Yeah. But 10-1
Congrats.
to 12/31 is quarter one, you're saying?
Correct.
Well, that'll be fine. But
Yeah, that'll be fine. So it's Q2, Q3.
Anything late January?
I saw estimates, they're very wide ranging, even on Wall Street. Like,
No one's gonna know.
some people are saying
I've seen crazy
Q2 negative 2%, and I think JP Morgan said Q2 negative
negative
14% or
Yeah.
something like that.
Yeah.
Where is that? Right?
It's,
That was the
it's
number,
in there,
right?
It's in there, yeah. I think JP Morgan was saying -4 in Q1 and then -14 or something in Q2,
Something like
which
that.
is huge. That's bad. That's definitely recession.
That's like Great Depression type.
That's
What
real
was the
fucking
largest
bad.
what was the contractions we had in 2008? Do we even know?
2008.
Well, nothing like the 20s, but
Yeah, nothing like
1920s. But
I don't know.
Bill Ackman
Numbers.
was on CNBC
Bill
saying
Bill
that this is
Ackman.
going to be another Great Depression.
He was very.
Well, he said if we don't fix it,
Yeah.
did you hear
If
that?
we don't take
Were you
active.
listening to CNBC when we were too?
Yeah.
Today?
No, it was when he was on. They were talking about that
No, I
call.
just read about it. I was
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
dude,
We
he
were
was
listening
acting
to it.
like
It's crazy.
full on doomsday.
Well, he was
World is
trying
ending.
to
No.
Dude, he
spawn
was
a sell-off.
no.
I
I
don't
swear.
He probably could, because it did go. The market itself did go down after he.
He was
spoke.
saying what would happen if we didn't take the right steps.
Yeah.
And he said, I'm
But he
buying
was like-
stock because I think we're going to have to take the right steps.
Yeah.
He said, I'm
Yeah,
buying
that's what
Hilton.
they were saying. Yeah,
I'm buying Hilton, but if we do nothing, Hilton goes to zero. And I totally agree with everything Bill Ackman said. He said we
He
need
was like crying.
we need a 30-day shutdown on
Was it
everything.
really?
Yeah, dude.
People need to stay home, and then things can begin to recover, and then you can begin to address things with stimulus and, I don't know, giving people direct checks, which is something that I guess, I mean, we might be getting checks in the
It's
mail.
almost a done deal.
What-
It's
what-
no, that's. I think that's like the biggest piece to come out of this for the average American is
It's almost
that
a done deal. Yeah.
yeah, it's almost a done deal. They're gonna do 250 billion this quarter, and then 250 billion. No, sorry, the 250 billion this month, and 250 billion next month. April, May, not this month, next month. So April, May, and what that's gonna be is literally direct transfer to your bank account in some circumstances if you file tax, if you're a tax,
Yeah.
like an already taxpayer
If
for
the IRS
2018.
has your direct deposit information,
Exactly.
they might
They're
just use
just-
that and just
Yeah,
stick
they're
it
just
right
gonna
in your
send it
account.
right to your bank account.
Yeah.
So that is looking like it's going to be based on income. I believe it's if you make less than 100K.
Yeah.
Jointly.
No, so it's so for an individual, if you make less than 100K, they're saying you're gonna get a check.
Yeah.
If you make less than 75K, you'll get the full amount, and it phases down up to 100K. So if you make 80K, you're gonna get less than somebody that makes 70K.
Yeah.
For a married couple, it's basically the same exact thing, but you just double it. So I don't know what the income limits are for a married couple, but instead of 1,200, which is the proposed amount per check for individual, the married couple will get 2,400. Seems obvious.
Yeah.
The little icing on the cake is every dependent you have is an extra $500.
Those extra 200.
I heard five. I heard
Five?
500.
I could see it being
Every
fine.
kid.
I didn't think 200
Yeah, I
is
mean
fucking
200 is
yeah,
not
it's
much.
not gonna do
Yeah,
anything.
every
Yeah.
dependent you
Yeah.
have.
What's
so-
200?
Someone's got a fat
car
kid.
payment?
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Not even in some circumstances, but yeah, okay. So yeah, that's cool.
That's what's proposed.
Now that brings up
Proposed.
a point of: are we Team Yang? Are we Yang Gang?
No.
I never even.
We are not Yang Gang.
I was three. I'm probably. I barely have been following politics the past couple years, to be honest. I don't know what the hell a gang was all about.
Yang was
His big shtick was a universal
Universal
basic income because robots are going to take over the world and eliminate all the jobs.
correct.
I want to kind of.
So he wanted essentially $1,000 a month or more. I believe it was pretty
To
close to
every
just
like
1,000.
working age adult.
Every
Yeah.
taxpayer.
Yeah.
So pretty much same circumstance, but every month. Not same circumstance at all, but everyone would be getting that recurring payment of $1,000. So this is entirely different. This is government intervention. This is what needs to be done to stimulate our economy if
Yeah.
possible.
Well, they'd say that's government intervention too, but it's just government intervention under different
During a
circumstances.
crisis, yeah.
I mean,
During
this
a
is
crisis.
a crisis. This is temporary. This is not
Yeah.
a permanent
No.
1,000 reoccurring. You know,
No,
for 12
it's not
months.
gonna go on forever. Maybe only a few,
This is,
months.
you might only get 1 or 2 checks because they're probably only going to pay you for the time that.
Well, they're thinking too.
They've shut down the businesses.
They're thinking two, one April 6th and one May 11th, I believe.
I don't know. I haven't. None of this is finalized.
It's not final.
It's
at
They
all.
also, which I mean, affected my family a lot because my dad's a CPA. But they pushed back the tax filing deadline to July 15th.
That's a
90 days.
good thing to say.
So not only
That's-
that, like you can have an extra 3 months to get your taxes done, but if you owe money, you have an extra 3 months to pay it.
Exactly.
Most people our age actually, you normally get refunds.
Yeah.
But I mean, especially if you run your own business, you often owe a lot.
Yep.
So at that point, not only if you owe money and all of a sudden you're out of work or all of your clients dry up, at least you have until July 15th now to get it in. And Rhode Island,
which is huge.
which is where we are by the way, in case that wasn't established,
Yeah, it wasn't.
backed it up. They also said they're gonna push it to
For state?
715 as well for state
Yeah,
taxes.
Rhode Island's been one of the states that's been hit the hardest with unemployment claims. Right?
Yeah.
There's
Yeah.
4 states. and
I heard
Rhode
it
Island's
was
one of them.
second after Nevada
Yeah.
in terms of
Yeah.
not in terms of like number of claims, so Rhode Island's so small, it's not a fair comparison.
Percentage.
But I think in terms of percentage, it's
Yeah.
second after Nevada for
Yeah, I think,
the most unemployment claims.
I think
And
as
Nevada's
of
because of casinos.
exactly,
probably,
and
yeah.
also it's because of restaurants. We have so many
Yeah,
fucking
restaurants and casinos, yeah,
So many restaurants. I think as of
and schools,
maybe
childcare, stuff like that.
Tuesday, I think maybe Wednesday, jobless claims were up like 2.2 million.
No, that's what they're projected to be next week.
Okay, next week.
Yeah, we're gonna learn on Thursday, I think.
Yeah.
Of
That's the
next
number
week.
that they're figuring that
Which-
I think beats 08 by almost double or something
Yeah.
like that.
Yeah.
In
which
1 week.
is a lot.
In 1 week.
I heard a statistic, and this was like a week ago, so it's probably a lot worse now. That 18% of Americans are, because of the virus, unemployed or had their hours cut.
I believe it.
18%.
I would say
And
probably
we're
more.
coming off of historically low unemployment numbers.
They're like pushing sub 1%.
No, they're 3%.
But
Okay.
at the same time,
That was way lower.
3.9.
this is
3.9?
just this.
Okay.
That's all just out the window. Like this
Yeah,
is just
out
gonna
the
ruin-
window.
It's gonna ruin that completely.
Yeah.
We're gonna see higher numbers than we ever even saw during like the Obama administration.
It's really Great Depression levels.
It's gonna be bad. But
But if you had to put money on it, do you think those numbers are going to come back down by the time the election rolls around, or do you think that
I think
in
slightly.
the fall we're still going to be over? Do you think we're going to be over 10 in the fall?
countrywide, no.
Yeah.
No.
No, I
Right.
think slightly they will, not fully though. And like they're
They're getting
saying,
better.
Yeah.
Mnuchin the other day was saying if nothing gets done,
It'd be
we're
20%.
hitting 20% unemployment. A fifth of our country is going to 70 million people unemployed.
That's ridiculous.
I want to get around to what we should do now, because I feel we kind of laid out what we've done or what's been going on with the
Yeah.
volatility and all that stuff. Like, what should people be doing
That's a good question.
in this sector or
Well,
in the stock market now?
We should reiterate that they cannot take our recommendations.
Yeah, don't take our advice,
Yeah.
especially not mine.
Again, we are not experts,
But
but
get fired.
we are experts.
Don't listen to us.
No, we have no idea.
Entertainment purposes.
No, but it's obvious that certain industries will actually benefit from this and not get hurt. by it.
Yeah, so
Uh,
obviously we're gonna talk about the COVID-19 proof stocks.
There you go. Trademark that shit. Send it to the bank.
Now,
Because
these stocks are all of the companies that don't give a shit about the virus.
That'll probably outperform during the whole time
Correct.
that it's here.
Correct.
It's gonna help the numbers.
Outperform the underperformers, which is not hard to do.
Yes.
So I'm gonna start right away by saying obvious companies. Amazon.
Yeah.
Amazon is just too big right now.
Please sell your Amazon shares to me if you're watching this. I would like to purchase them around 1,700 or lower.
Preferably
Pretty
lower.
sure they hit 1,900 today. at one
Very
point.
sad. It's going the wrong direction.
They were up for a while, then,
Yeah,
then
I think it ended down.
the late in the day, everything.
But I still think this market's going to drift lower over these next few months.
I think it will too.
While we see these jobless claims and
Yeah.
the cases skyrocket.
I was surprised yesterday that we ended great.
I don't know.
I
how
thought
we're
it was
doing.
going
I don't know how-
Yesterday, so I watched the screen all day, and yesterday was the healthiest trading day I've seen in almost at least 3 weeks.
So yeah, at least
Because we didn't have any huge swings,
no halts,
no halts. That's good.
no circuit breakers.
No
which we
circuit
had a
breakers,
couple of.
no huge swings though. Like if we were down, it wasn't more than like 200 points. If we were up, it
Yeah.
wasn't more than a few hundred points.
Yeah.
That's what you want to see.
Well, I think that the big swing yesterday was the spread was like 1,300 points.
It might have been.
I think at one point, very early in the morning, we were down about 500 to 700, and then we ended up
It wasn't.
500 to 700.
It wasn't like
As crazy.
one of those days
No,
where
it wasn't nutty.
It sounds crazy, but we got used to seeing 1,000-point swings.
Yeah.
And
Like right.
that's not normal.
I was saying earlier
Like,
today.
that's not normal at all.
I was saying earlier, the VIX today was down like $6. I don't have my phone with me, but it was down.
It might have been down
like,
to 12. It was down to like 68.
yeah, it was down like
that.
4%, 5% to end the day, right? And the Dow itself was also down like 900 points.
Yeah.
Because there's no more volatility. Everyone's just selling.
Yeah.
It's,
It's
like the VIX is like, you guys are all just selling.
That's another thing. I think there's going to be more forced selling coming around. People can't pay bills. They're
Yeah.
going to sell any stocks they have. There's going to be margin calls. I mean, I don't know if that ship already sailed with the margin calls. That might have already happened.
no, it's
All right,
still,
so
it's still happening.
Let's bring this back over to the COVID-proof stocks.
Yeah, Amazon's a good stock.
Amazon is obviously Amazon. People are still going to be ordering everything.
They have
fucking
their
need.
volume has been so high they've had to suspend all non-essential purchases. So I wouldn't be surprised if they made a friggin' ginormous profit.
They're hiring like crazy.
They're hiring.
They hired like 50,000
Their demand's even
workers.
higher, and I think people are going to get
Yeah.
used to the way of life of Amazon. Once you get hooked on this thing, I mean, how easy is it to just order something online and it shows up at your door in a day or two? I mean, like Amazon
Exactly.
Prime.
They own Whole Foods.
Yeah.
All the freaking
Exactly.
millennials are just going to be
don't
ordering
they
off of Whole Foods.
Don't they have the pill something?
Yeah,
so they
yeah.
have pharmaceuticals as well, or
Yeah.
so people are getting their medication. They might be stocking up on medication a little bit
Yeah.
early if they think it can go out. So I think that's Amazon. You want to speak about Teladoc?
The whole telehealth. You might have, if you've been paying attention to Trump recently, he's been using this word a lot, which gets me going. Cause,
I don't like it because I want to buy.
I love it, but yeah, telehealth is huge. It's kind of a new thing. You can have an entire doctor's appointment on your phone.
Via
Basically
like Skype or
FaceTime,
something.
basically FaceTime, Skype, Zoom, which we'll get to in a bit. Zoom is a huge beneficiary of this as well. You can, and they can diagnose you or tell you if it's bad enough where you need to go somewhere and see someone in person.
And they can prescribe
But
medicine.
Telehealth is Teladoc is the company that connects you to that doctor.
Yeah.
And there's doctors out there now that literally don't see patients in person. And this was a thing before this whole coronavirus came
Just
about.
speeding up the transition.
It's just like people are realizing, a lot of people didn't even know it was an option before.
Yeah.
But as long as,
Especially older people who.
I know Teladoc has a
not
huge
technology.
contract with UNH, United Healthcare. As more insurers start approving the use of telehealth, this thing is just going to go to the moon. It's only barely
It's like
$10
$8 billion
I
company.
think it's
something
up
like
to like $10-11 billion
Yeah.
now. When I was looking at it, it was like $4 billion. Don't know. I'm not recommending it now, but I mean it's not gonna. It's only benefiting from this. It's not getting hurt from it. Same with. I mean, I don't think it's even on this list. We'll get to the others in a second. But like Walmart. If you look at a Walmart chart right now, type in
Walmart is
WMC.
all-time
Walmart's in
high,
the same boat as Amazon because they offer now everything Amazon does and a pharmacy.
And Walmart has grown their online business so much.
Yeah.
And
That's what I mean.
they can't keep so many products on the shelf right now.
Yeah.
You can't get
Everything's out of
Clorox
Walmart.
wipes. You can't
It's
get
insane.
toilet paper. You can't get paper towels. You can't get canned goods.
Yeah.
You cannot get pasta. You can't get pasta sauce. I've tried. Trust me.
Good thing I have like 8 boxes in
You
my.
can't get any of this stuff right now. So not only the people that are making those products benefiting, but the grocers are benefiting huge.
Yeah.
And you got to keep the grocery stores open, no matter how bad this gets.
It
The
will stay
grocery
open.
stores, the doctor's offices, the pharmacists, they have to stay open. Everything else can shut
We've been
down. but
reiterated
they
too
have to
that
stay open.
all supply chains will be remaining open, which is huge. Which tells it should tell the everyday person that hey,
You don't need to hoard. You don't need all that
you
fucking
shouldn't
toilet
need-
paper.
You don't need
You're
that.
all of a sudden gonna be
fucking
shitting a
toilet
lot
paper.
more than you
So,
did before.
This virus is a respiratory virus. It's not a shit
So
virus.
you can't find toilet paper anywhere all of a sudden, and people are hoarding it. And this is a serious issue. I got an email today from my apartment complex that said, please do not flush wipes or paper towels because people are wiping their ass with stuff other than toilet paper.
Just go shit to shower.
Because
That's
they
all.
can't.
That's the solution.
I'm not advocating.
Because they can't find toilet paper. Luckily, another Amazon plug. Luckily for me, a few months ago, I thought I was buying paper towels on Amazon, and it showed up and it was toilet paper. So I had way more than I ever thought I needed.
Convenience.
And this was like November or October. I didn't know it was going to benefit me in
That's
the
not
long run. But now I have like 40 rolls. I'm not hoarding it on purpose. It happened by accident, but it benefited me.
You should-
He's the TP plug.
You should flip that
He's
shit.
a TP plug.
Charge mad.
$5 a
Dude,
roll.
that's like price gouging. I think
Yeah,
he's
that's
gonna
what
arrest
You
me
wanna
right
wipe your
now.
ass here? $50.
Seriously.
Yeah, you can
Shit.
hardcore get arrested.
That'd be awesome. Slack. You wanna talk about Slack?
I would love to talk about Slack.
You love Slack.
So Slack is small company that offers pretty much cloud services where you can just talk to. Companies can make groups, kind of like just a massive group text, and you can share media. You can share anything really. Have full on meetings. Have full Skype calls, whatever it may be, right on the platform. So they're obviously a direct benefit of this because
Yeah, of
everyone's
course.
sitting at home.
Yeah.
You watch the news, and every single news anchor is in their home.
I didn't think they would go that far, but
They are.
literally the news anchors are in their living rooms or
Yeah.
home offices.
Yeah, calling in with.
The stock hasn't outperformed. Has it? I mean, maybe
The
it's
stock-
outperformed.
no,
but it
it-
hasn't
No. It was hurt by this, but now it's recovered. big
Yeah,
time
it's
out of
recovered.
nowhere.
It got hurt. No, it didn't get hurt by this. It got hurt by its earnings call.
Oh yeah, it wasn't pretty.
It was the earnings call was kind of lackluster, but that was last quarter.
Well, they sandbagged the guide, and then now they have COVID.
They
so-
beat on estimates, but guidance was shit. Yeah, they sandbagged the guidance.
Which you see a lot recently.
Yeah,
I mean, we got used to in this great economy.
being raised.
We got used to a lot of just beating, and then
Raised.
no, but recently it's like the market doesn't care if you beat on earnings or revenue.
Well, 'cause it's
No,
forward-looking
going
now.
Their guidance isn't
yeah.
amazing.
Right.
It
Got-
yeah.
like literally
AMD.
Guidance is more.
all of
important.
2019, all these companies were beating on rev, beating on top line, bottom line.
Yeah,
But if they even like had a little like, if they hesitated in their guidance, if they weren't 100% confident,
they're going down.
they're going to sell off anyway, which is insane. Which is that's a sign.
But
it's a sign to me that we were at like a top
peak valuation,
and no one was willing to continue to buy because they were like, can this really go higher?
Yeah.
Like that's where we were. So
and that's true for all companies.
That was why this sell off was so drastic.
Fast.
We were at the top.
Massive. 40% in a month.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like
We were pushing 30,000 on the Dow.
Yeah.
Which is unprecedented.
Yeah. Another company I want to talk about is Chewy. They sell pet supplies.
Yeah.
And I think that they've been benefiting from this because nobody's obviously going to be going into pet stores. People want to avoid that as much as possible. I know that
people are home too, freaking glorifying their pets.
Yeah, and they have.
I know I do.
They have really good customer
Shout out
service.
to Ellie.
I would if I had a pet.
Just a little story. I know that they made some sort of like painting of my dog. My sister sent in some sort of like picture of my dog, and they literally made like a personal like portrait of my dog.
Yeah.
So my sister was like blown away by that, and that made her like think of Chewy. So Chewy has great customer service. They ship products fast. I think they've been lowering their minimum orders to get free shipping.
Yeah.
That's a trend that's been continuing. So I would look to Chewy to outperform. With the humanization of pets, as Kramer always calls it, how we treat pets more and more like us, so we give them better quality products. So I think Chewy would do well in this environment.
And a lot of these companies other than Amazon that we've mentioned so far, Amazon and Walmart actually, are pretty small.
Very small.
Small mid-cap companies. So I mean, these are the type of companies you can buy and hold forever, and you can see them one day turn into
Behemoths.
massive companies.
Become Amazon, basically.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And just a little reference, because I think we'll talk about Zoom for a second, because they're basically just like Skype. It's like FaceTiming, but it's more focused on businesses being able to have complete meetings when no one is in the same room. Zoom, January 2nd, traded at $68. Today closed at $130.55.
That's nearly double.
So it pretty much doubled, just about exactly
It's like-
doubled.
yeah,
since,
it's like
since January
92%.
2nd. And January 2nd, I mean, we didn't even, this was
No one knew.
before this whole
That's-
thing was even.
That's before everyone is
People were
sitting
taking it
at their
seriously.
home.
I knew about it in January.
Yeah, but that's
And this
before
is a
everyone's
recent
sitting at their home and
It's a recent IPO, too.
Yeah.
Like, this isn't
Well,
that
it's
public.
2019 IPO.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I
May
mean,
or something.
I don't know when 2019, but
April or May. I
seem
know.
to remember, actually, I'll verify right now. I don't think it did that well at first.
No, it traded. It went IPO, then it went up to like $100 a share. I know.
Yep,
I
yep,
told my
you're
uncle
right.
to buy it,
You're
and then it sold all the way back down to like 60, mid 60s, and now it's
You're right.
gone back.
Everything
to
you said was right.
Mid
it
60s.
was like an
In
E-trade.
July, it peaked at 102.
Yeah.
It fell all the way back down to 62 by December 6th.
Wow.
And pretty much since then, it's went from 62 to 131.
So that 100 level was there, so you kind of have to like kind of look at that, being like, all right, so they were there. It was expected. I don't know what caused it to go down. There's probably some.
It's just an expensive. No, it's an expensive growth stock. They never, I've been paying pretty close attention to Zoom because my uncle was invested in it, and I talk with him pretty frequently. He ended up taking a position in Zoom, I think in the 70s or 80s, and wrote it up to around 100, and then I know he sold it beyond valuation concerns.
Yeah.
So it's just a stock that people have been excited about, but it's gotten ahead of itself, and now I think it's ahead of itself now.
One
I mean,
thing
to be honest.
about the IPOs last year,
It's all speculation.
out of nowhere, before this whole thing even started, the market was peaking, so people started to punch companies that were unprofitable.
Yeah.
We saw that throughout all of 2019.
Yeah.
Almost all.
Even 2018 was
There were
Snapchat.
so many unsuccessful IPOs
Snapchat.
throughout the past couple of years. Yeah. Because people got
Spotify.
spoiled.
Well,
But
as the cycle goes later,
as
the quality
we
of-
were late cycle, you start to punish companies that are hemorrhaging money, borrowing constantly,
GD.
issuing more stock, like Shopify.
Shopify.
Or like a roll of cannabis.
Yeah, I mean, let's not get into cannabis
We
right
won't
now.
get into the weed
But
stocks.
that could be a whole episode, honestly.
It will be.
It should be.
Maybe a little bit.
But yeah, Zoom kind of got caught up in that, but now people are realizing because of this coronavirus thing, huge beneficiary of it.
Yeah.
Doubled in a month, 2
Yeah.
months. So
Twitter. I know I'm the one that put Twitter on there. I don't know why Twitter sold off so much. Due to this outbreak, I think people are on Twitter now. Probably.
People are just sitting on Twitter.
People are on Twitter now
refreshing
more
that.
than ever.
He's like, yeah, I do that every day.
You have
After work, yeah.
You have the election coming up this year. So people are.
So
gonna
would
be
you
on
put
that, getting
would you
news.
put Facebook in the same
I would put
because
Facebook
of Instagram.
I would put Facebook in that same category.
Facebook's taking a lot of measures to fight this as well.
Yeah, Facebook's doing a lot.
Facebook also has a lot more employees. They're gonna have to pay them while they're
But they're paying them bonuses, like $1,000 bonuses.
Yeah, they give everybody a bonus
just to hold them over.
And then they're also donating like $100 million to small businesses.
Yeah, they're doing some stuff. Yeah,
that's gonna hurt the bottom line.
I don't know the numbers.
It's gonna hurt their bottom line, but I mean, at this point, it's like, all right, who the fuck cares about the bottom line?
The valuation for Facebook right now is where it was in the middle of the Cambridge Analytica scandal. I mean, you retraced all of those gains that you made to like over 200. You know, I think it went up to like 220 or 217 or something like that. And now it's down to like 140. So I think there's opportunity there. You have Verizon listed on this.
On there, yeah, because everyone's on the internet. I believe in the past 2 weeks, they were saying that they're breaking down their services by use. So gaming has gone up 75%. Just commercial, like everyday use in the past two weeks has gone up. I think it was about 20%, 25%, and then work. So people that are working from home, like myself, like you,
starting Monday.
that was also up another like 20%. So I mean, their services are getting used, and they're not getting maxed out. I mean, I've had a little bit of issues with connectivity issues, but I mean, it's still a solid connection. Their phone services are going to be lackluster because who's buying a phone right now? Likely no one. But I think that their internet services, they have 5G coming out in a year or two.
Strong dividend, strong balance sheet.
Really strong dividend right now.
I know they have a lot of debt, but I know that they can cover the debt.
It's like a 4% dividend right now.
Almost 5. And you got AT&T in the same boat. I mean, they have less.
But I think the dividend's not as safe with AT&T as it is.
AT&T is almost like one of the most highly leveraged companies in the world. Like, literally, they have so much debt, but that's because they did a huge buyout of.
Don't they have so much cash flow too?
They do. But I mean, AT&T right now is yielding well over 7%.
Yeah.
And if you tell me right now over the next 3 years, if you think you're gonna easily make 7% in this market, you're probably wrong.
You don't think so? I think you are.
If you're buying right now, maybe.
I think
if you bought a few months ago.
Yeah, like
not if you bought a few months. If you bought in the eye of the storm, no, you're fucked.
No, that's what I'm saying. Not at the eye of the storm. I'm saying like right before. Let's say you bought.
What month?
I don't know, October, November last year, and you're just gonna hold. Let's say you bought the S&P in October, and you're just gonna hold the next 3 years.
You bought the S&P at like all-time highs.
It's gonna take a while to recover that. You're not gonna make 7% per year, most likely. But if you bought AT&T, the stock might fall a little bit, but you're collecting your income and you're reinvesting those dividends, and you're lowering your cost basis by reinvesting those dividends, even if the stock falls. And they're not gonna cut their dividend. Neither is Verizon. No. You can't say that for the big oil and gas companies that are 25-30% right now. It's insane. ExxonMobil
CVS as well.
ExxonMobil is lower than it was.
Oil can't catch a bid.
Exxon's back to where it was in like the 90s. If you look at that chart right now, it's insane.
I wouldn't touch those things with a 10-foot pole.
It's so sketchy.
And it's the same thing with CVS though. CVS has like a 3.8%.
Oh, we're gonna get to CVS.
I think we should right now. So mentioned it.
Well, we got healthcare stocks. Do you want to bridge into healthcare stocks?
Yeah.
Okay.
CVS.
All right. So I think I don't know if I put it on here, but I own CVS. I went long at like 53. It has a good dividend, and I actually don't know why it's sold off so much because the pharmacies need to stay open. People need their medicine.
Where are you going to get your medicine?
And it's almost like another grocery store. You know, you can go to CVS. You can buy food, you can buy cleaning products, you can buy all those things, and CVS's shelves are barren. So I can't figure out why the sell-off was in CVS. So I think you have an opportunity to get a great company with a strong dividend.
Cheap as well.
Yeah.
I believe it's about 15 to 20% off the tire right now.
Yeah, and they're rolling out the minute clinics and stuff like that, which are avenues for growth later on down the road. So I think CVS is pretty strongly positioned.
And if they integrate Aetna successfully, it'll be huge.
Correct.
Massive. Part of the reason the sell-off might have been how much they paid for Aetna, but that was a while ago.
Yeah, that was a couple months, right?
If they integrated, it was like
a year
early last year, I think.
Yeah.
But if they integrate it successfully, they're gonna. Oh my God.
A lot of cost.
There's no other company that is at the forefront of the pharmacy side of it, as well as a major insurer. I mean, the deal almost didn't even get approved.
Yep.
The fact that
I remember that.
The fact that it did is insane. They may have overpaid more. Who knows? But it doesn't matter. Like that was a historic merger.
That was one of the things that I was monitoring because there was a judge before before I ended up buying it in August, there was a case where they had to decide, you know, like, was it legal for them to go ahead and absorb Aetna or whatever?
Yeah.
Shouldn't have been.
So I was waiting for the judge to rule before I bought my shares, and they ruled in CVS's favor. So I think CVS is out of the woods on that.
Plus, like we said, they yield 3.8%, I believe. I just shamelessly picked up some shares today as it's back down to that.
Did you really?
Yeah, dude, it's below. I think it's below where I bought it. I bought it at 53. Is it at 53 right now?
Yeah, it's around 50 something.
Yeah,
but yeah, I think CVS is gonna come out on top on this one as well. Most like pharmacy companies like that, like you can throw Walmart in there because they have their own pharmacy section that does really well. Walgreens Boots, also in the same boat as CVS. Rite Aid.
I go best of breed.
Yeah, if you're gonna do it, get that 3.8%.
Go best of breed, and when you're in a downturn like this, you want to go to the best companies. You don't want to, but you don't want to be trying to reinvent the wheel and this company's gonna make a recovery. No, you want to go with the strongest balance sheets, the strongest brands.
So the dividend aristocrats.
Exactly.
People have raised the dividends for. AbbVie has raised the dividends 46 years in a row.
We skipped that.
Well, AbbVie,
I don't know why you're on there.
Is
You want to talk about AbbVie?
We could.
Is yielding 7% right now.
I'm interested in this company.
Their major arthritis medication, Humira, is growing extremely quickly. They've been around forever, and they've increased their dividend every year for 46 years in a row.
Jesus.
And currently yielding over 7%, very safe yield. I mean, they're not one of the ones that are looking to solve the coronavirus, but why do they need to? No one's gonna stop taking their medication if it's keeping them healthy,
feeling good.
alive.
Exactly.
That's why healthcare stocks consume like the staples, utilities. They'll do fine no matter what because you're still gonna pay your electricity bill. You're still gonna take your medication, and you're still gonna buy toilet paper.
You're gonna buy groceries.
So
Kimberly Clark.
these are the things. You're not gonna buy a diamond ring. You're not gonna buy a Lamborghini.
Tesla. Although Tesla's just a different story.
I don't think Tesla's gonna do well.
Some people might buy those things, but you'll be looked at funny in your neighborhood because like, wait, why is he splurging? The economy's.
It's a huge flex.
Yes, that's a YOLO.
Big
The
flex.
economy's in the shitter. This guy's buying a Lamborghini. He should be helping out his neighbors who are starving. Anyways, we can go on.
Stocks that aren't coming back or that are gonna be fucked. Cruise lines.
Anything vacation related?
We'll just run cruise lines, airlines, automakers, hotels, restaurant stocks.
Minus Tesla.
Kind of think Chipotle might be able to do okay, but
If they come out with breakfast.
Yeah.
People have been asking about that forever. When is Chipotle gonna get a breakfast burrito or something? They're
saving it.
They're keeping the card in the back pocket. They're
that's my trap code.
Yeah, they're gonna pull it out eventually. But
So, on that comeback, what about energy sector?
the domestic U.S. Companies can't survive it.
How can you make a call on energy without knowing what
they can't survive sub 30
exactly.
WTI.
Long term, even just 1 year, they can't survive sub 30 WTI, which is why I believe that, in my opinion, President Trump's going to step in with the whole Saudi.
I think after this virus gets settled, he's going to go fucking fix the
and
world.
I think that there's going to be some minimum price set that to get Saudi Arabia away from controlling everything. Because right now they're just pumping out oil. Like there's no tomorrow.
It's
Russia.
Russia.
Russia as well. Yeah.
Russia too.
They're both just pumping out oil like there's no tomorrow. That's why it's just gone to the ground.
Yeah.
No pun intended.
And there's less demand now because
people aren't moving. Like oil price or gas prices are like $1.50, but we can't fucking do anything.
It's a perfect storm.
Yeah, no one's driving around, not gonna refill. So
Right.
there you go.
So I think even on renewable side, minus again Tesla, I think those stocks are fucked as well because who's going to be buying solar panels in
Nobody.
Short term, no. Anything that's a luxury, you won't be buying it. You want to buy
Why would you
things
buy
that
solar
are
panels if you buy oil for dirt cheap?
Exactly.
But that doesn't mean that oil is the company's gonna do well because they're still selling it for dirt cheap below what they're producing it for. They can't survive like that. They can't support these
stay away from
dividends.
energy. Energy hasn't done well in a couple of years. I wouldn't.
It's been a while since energy.
I wouldn't. The trend is your friend until it's not. But most of the time, it's your friend.
You can literally, just as an example, buy the energy sector right now, XLE Spider ETF, and get. This can't be right. This cannot be right.
It can't be.
What's the fucking?
Just say.
What's the dividend?
Just
This
say.
is 15.2%. That can't be right.
It has to be.
So you're putting $1,000 in.
But everyone's gonna cut their dividend before that end date.
Yeah, but think of that. So if this is how bad and overinflated dividend prices are right now because of how much these stocks have dropped. When a company sets their dividend price or dividend percentage, it's based on the price of their current, the current price of their stock.
Yeah, whatever it's trading at that time.
Yeah, so if the company's trading at $100 and they're setting a 5% dividend, that's $5 per share.
Yeah.
Right. So
if
that company
falls
goes
to 50,
if it falls to 50, that 5% dividend becomes a 10% dividend.
That 5, yeah, exactly.
So now it's still $5 a share.
Yeah, and if they don't cut, they're gonna have to pay a way higher payout ratio.
So when you purchase the stock, you lock in whatever price you purchase at. If I'm buying that company that's now trading at $50 per share and has a 10% dividend, I buy it at that price. I lock in that dividend price.
Unless they cut it in the
Unless
future.
they cut it.
Correct.
But if they increase it, it's still going to be increased too.
Correct.
Yeah.
So none of these companies can survive at this
No.
dividend.
No,
price.
stay away from energy.
Energy bad.
Yeah, like I said, I texted you guys before I came here. Occidental Petroleum was cut. I think the price went from of the stock went from 45 to like 9 or 8, and it's yielding 32%. Do you think it can sustain a 32%?
No.
No,
That's crazy.
it can't, and it's gonna have to be bailed out or it's gonna go under.
Yeah.
Might have to cut the dividend to 0. Like, not even kidding. Like, they can't.
Yeah, no dividend.
They can't do that.
They need to rebuild.
Yeah.
But energy bad. Amazon good.
Anything that promotes remote work, good. Grocers will be fine. Healthcare will be fine. That's basically my summary.
Yeah, now that Bernie Sanders is out, you can buy healthcare stocks again.
You can buy insurers,
insurers
again.
Yeah, that was
Like the drug makers
directly.
probably would have been fine if he probably would have hit that. But the insurers like UNH, United Health, Anthem, they were
One of
going to
honestly
be
one of
destroyed
the
if he got elected. So
when Biden was first kind of projected to win the nomination, was kind of in the midst of all of this. It was like maybe early March, I believe. That day we saw after seeing.
I think it was after Super Tuesday, whenever that was. We saw
it was
Biden
after
perform really well on
Super
Super Tuesday, and then the healthcare stocks.
It was in the midst of all of this,
Joe.
all of these
Sleepy
sell-offs.
Sleepy Joe Biden.
But it was in the midst of all of these sell-offs, and it was the next day was a huge rally, and it was just because of the healthcare sector. There was no other stocks that were up but the healthcare sector, and it rallied massive.
XLV, baby.
So, yeah, potential presidents or current presidents have a
That's why
huge effect on the market.
You can't avoid politics
That
and
you
talk about the
can't.
market. You can just kind of say that, hey, my opinion, you don't need to share my opinion, but this is how I think it might affect the market.
The market is directly related to news. Good news, it's going to go up. Bad news, it's going to go down. A lot of bad news recently.
It's very forward-looking. So
It's very forward-looking.
I mean,
especially
we're
right
talking
now.
about an election that'll happen in November, and any results that you see from the Democratic primary are priced in immediately. Once you see the results, the market reacts immediately.
Yeah.
It's not assuming that person's going to get elected in November, but because there's a slight chance of it, it will react immediately.
Yeah.
So the market's just that's intelligent.
Very smart.
Yeah.
I just put a couple little notes here at the end.
I do want to touch on this whole Congress buying or selling those
insider
shares.
trading?
Yeah, a little
Okay.
insider trading in Congress
So if
recently.
people don't know, I guess there was a classified briefing where politicians on both sides of the aisle received a classified briefing, and then a lot of them went out and sold stock in companies that they knew would be negatively impacted by this virus. So obviously, I think a lot of us think that's a significant problem.
That's
When
massive
when they're kind of going to Congress to serve the public, but they're really kind of only serving themselves.
Yeah.
So I think that you shouldn't even be able to. Maybe you can't make any changes to your stock portfolio if you're in Congress, or maybe not that.
It should have like some companies, some like.
Can you make trades off of classified information?
No,
What the
you
fuck
shouldn't
is
be able
The woman, who was her name again? I forgot her name, but she was arguing
Laughlin
that
or something? Is that her?
she's like a new.
Laughlin?
She's like a new senator.
Yeah,
or something,
she's been in there like 3 months.
She is arguing that all of those trades were done by an advisor that managed their money, and he makes his own decisions. You're telling me that guy doesn't
Say, hey, what'd you hear on your
You're
classified
telling me
meeting?
that guy doesn't take feedback from her after that meeting?
No.
Burr, one of the congressmen, Burr, he voted in 2000. I don't remember the exact date, but previously he voted against legislation that would limit Congress senators, whoever, it would limit their buying and selling of stocks based on
the
what they
transactions.
have.
Well, I think if you're gonna make a transaction, if they're public servants, then they should. I mean, I don't know if you can do this if it's classified, but maybe you can tell the public, hey, I think these companies are at risk, and I'm gonna make a sale. Like, I think that they have to disclose it publicly if they want to make a decision. We should have been warned, right?
I mean, most
they should have warned.
trading platforms have like the insider trading. That it's not
That's
insider
not
trading, but it's like the people, the large institutions
executives
that are buying. So like they would essentially show up on that.
They would.
Yeah.
Well, I want to
What
say
it should be.
Well, he should not be able to make a sale or whoever,
Without
he or
disclosure.
she, without getting on the news and saying, I think this so and so sector is at risk. I think that if they can't warn the public, then they shouldn't be able to save themselves if they can't save the rest of us. They shouldn't be above us. They should at least be equal to us.
Yeah. No, I agree.
It doesn't make it. They should be treated the same way as someone in the finance industry.
Yeah, an everyday person.
Especially people
Finance
that
are subject to different stuff, even stricter laws
No,
than we are.
it's
Right?
way worse. Like,
Way worse,
Like
yeah.
if an analyst that works for the company that you work for comes out a research report that says I'm upgrading the price target on this stock, especially if you work for a company that's closely followed. Let's just say JP Morgan or something, and they upgrade a stock, and before the public does, because that report is like in your inbox immediately. You have a blackout period. You cannot trade it, or you're gonna get
So
fired.
maybe they should have blackout periods if there's going to be
You're gonna go to jail.
classified briefings.
If you're in finance and you take advantage of inside information, you're going to jail for a long time.
Yeah.
And why is that not the same for?
Congress.
Yeah.
And
Why is that not the
congresswomen.
same for people and they're supposed to represent the public?
Absolutely
That
should
doesn't make
be.
sense.
So they need to be subject to much stricter laws
Yeah, it makes sense.
because part of our population is already subject to those laws, and I'd argue that the politicians are more important to be subject to those laws than even or maybe just about as important.
Well, yeah. All those laws got a lot more strict after 08, but
I do want to wrap this up.
Yeah.
So
probably should have been chatting.
I think final thoughts. It's a question of should we be panicking?
I think it depends on the person's personal financial situation. If you got no fucking money, of course you should panic. No, I mean, like,
No,
I hope
I
nobody's
agree.
in that
I like
situation
that.
that's
Yeah.
listening. But if you're worried about the long-term market, I wouldn't worry one bit because I bet every cent that I have that the market's going to be higher in 2 years from now than it is today. Every cent that I have, I take that.
I don't even know.
I do. Sorry to interrupt. I do have
Okay.
one more question after this.
Okay. So if you have a long-term time horizon, don't panic. Things will come.
No, I agree completely. I don't know if I would put the 2-year mark on it, but if you're planning
5 years.
If you're planning, I should just say that, if you're planning to not touch the money that you're investing for another at least 5 years, then why would you worry right now?
Why would you worry?
Not only would you not worry, you should be excited.
Very excited.
I'm just buying shit.
Yeah.
It's on. Companies are on. Stocks are on a fire sale right
Yeah.
now.
Like
Why
I didn't get to touch on it earlier, but like for example, AbbVie, there's a PE. I know we're wrapping up, and a forward PE. Their forward PE.
PE is price
Earnings ratio. It's a weighted value of stock. Their forward PE is like a 7 right now.
7.
Yeah.
What the heck? The
Historically
S&P
cheap.
was like a 20 before this
insane.
pullback. So
Insanely cheap.
I mean, yeah. So basically, take advantage of the companies that are undervalued and whose earnings are not impacted by this whole thing.
I might just stop the recording.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
PE
PE is literally just the price of the stock over their EPS per share.
earnings.
It's a way to value the stock, and
generally
there's companies out there right now that their earnings are not going to be impacted by this virus, not going to be impacted by this whole economic downturn.
Amazon.
Like healthcare
Walmart.
stocks and the grocers and the online retailers.
Yeah.
And if their PE is coming down,
need to buy
especially relative to where it has been historically, and their growth rates and their everything and revenue growth rates are still the same.
Fundamentals are still.
It's
there.
on sale. It's
Like,
literally on sale.
All of
so
these,
take advantage of it.
a majority of these companies, all of the fundamentals are still there.
Yeah.
It's just we have a blackout period of 2 to 3 months right now, where who the fuck knows what's gonna happen. That's why there's so much panic. But how we get back to normalcy,
A year from now would be great.
Yeah.
That's probably.
You said you had one more thing.
Totally forgot it.
Okay, so then why don't we wrap it up then?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thanks for
Yeah.
thanks for tuning in.
Thanks for
Thank
listening.
you very
guys.
much. First episode.
Yeah, in the books.
Yeah.
yeah, I say we do a little cheers.